Good
Hi.
morning. How are you guys doing? How are you
How
guys
y'all
doing this
doing?
morning? Happy Sabbath. Assalamu alaikum. I think it's someday. I'm gonna say it in a minute, but thank you guys for coming and joining us again this beautiful Saturday morning. I am Linnell.
I am Marasha, which is the MA in Lamati. And Tashana, our sister, is still out. She's on break. This morning, we want to bring to you a great and awesome show, a show talking about basically parental supports. And so I do think it'd be a great topic. We are on a little bit earlier than usual because I have something that I've committed to already after this. And so we have to be off a little early today. So sorry if everybody's not on watching and viewing.
Yes, we do want to apologize that we did not let you guys know earlier that we would be on earlier. But once again, you know that you can always, because you're following, liking, and sharing us, you know that this is always on our page. So you will always be able to go there, click on it, watch the show. We apologize for our normal followers that are always here cheering us on, Terrell and Ebony and Alexis and
Hey, Mary.
yes, hey Mary,
Cousin
Kai. I
Shay,
always say her name wrong.
Alice. We apologize for that, but please leave a comment. You always
Tamika.
free to text us. The ones who that has our numbers, text us and let us
Yes.
know what we need to work on. We can always bring it up next week, or we can come with you a different show. So we want to see the comments today, even though you're not watching it live.
Yes, definitely, you guys. And tomorrow, I was trying to look it up. It's National HIV Testing Day.
It sure is.
So we want to make sure that you guys are getting the information you need so you can go out and get tested. So I know lately I've been making sure you have the information for Los Angeles, and Marasha has the information for Bakersfield. But for LA, if you need to get tested, whether it be today, tomorrow, in the future, you can contact the Ahmad Institute at 323-569-1610, and they will set you up an appointment for any Wednesday, 1 to 4. Or you can go to the website right there, which is www.ahmad.org, and you can get set up for a test as well. So once again, tomorrow is National HIV Testing Day. So we want to make sure that you get tested. In Bakersfield, if you want to get tested, you can go to the health department, right?
Our health department,
Okay. Yes.
located off of Mount Vernon, across from East Bakersfield High.
And I'm sorry I don't have that information, but we will have that next week. You know, it's always something that we can add. I know this week, because we talk every week also about the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. So that number, if you're struggling with any type of
Mental health
suicide,
issues or crisis,
yeah, or if you have
depression, anxiety,
questions, concerns,
concerns
yes,
that you might have, please
you can go ahead.
National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-8255. Or you can even text if you don't feel free with talking to someone. The crisis text line number is 741-741.
Yes. And then I know last week, Marasha let us know that there is a LGBTQ plus line as well. That line is 678-678. And I'm sorry, I didn't know. Let me unscroll this, y'all, because we don't want this to scroll. We just want to see so we can see it, because I can't see. So the LGBTQ plus text line is 678-678. And that's from Trevor Text. They're the ones who started that. They also have a social media platform for the LGBTQ plus community. If you are looking for maybe just support, or you just want some friends, or you just want to have fun. And that is Trevor Space. So it's kind of like MySpace. I know I'm old, but you know how they used to have MySpace? They got Trevor.
They don't know nothing about that. That's before their time, though.
They don't. But if you do, no, if you're looking for a platform that's unique to your population and you identify with the LGBTQ plus population, Trevor Space is for you. Or if you're having any mental wellness issues, if, like Marasha said, you're suffering with any anxiety or anything like that, you can definitely contact the text line, which is 678-678. So I guess we will go ahead and go over are, oh, I'm sorry, and one more, the Kern County Crisis Hotline. Sorry about that.
At 1-800-991-5272. So now we can go over our house rules.
Yes. So, as Marasha has said the last couple of weeks, she's been filling in for Tashana. I guess I'll take it over today. We are AMFTs, and we are speaking from our perspective, which is a Black woman's perspective. We are not intending on
offending anyone.
If we do, we apologize in advance. But once again, this is just our opinion. We are basing a lot of our conversations off of our personal experiences and others' personal experiences. So that's why we like you guys to engage. That's why we want you guys to get on here and tell us, how you feel about the topics, because it's a collective conversation. It's something that we want you guys to have your opinion on as well. It's okay to have an opinion. It's okay to not agree with us. And that's Absolutely. What this platform is for. We want you guys to be able to speak freely, for us to be able to have these conversations and really have that deep discussion where we can figure out why we feel this way and maybe come to some common agreement. So once again, there may be some cussing in the show. Hopefully it doesn't offend anyone.
We might say some words that could possibly be offensive, but it's never intention. So please forgive us now at the start of it. Bear with us here.
Yes, please bear with us. Keep us in your prayers. We always say that. We're not being funny when we say that, because really, keep us in your prayers. We're learning and growing every day. We appreciate your support. We appreciate the individuals that do come back and join us every week, the people that share these podcasts. I'm sorry, you guys. I don't know where I'm at.
Who like, share, and follow.
Yes, we appreciate you guys.
We appreciate every like we get, every view we get. Thank you guys. Yes. And so that brings us into our show.
Yes. So today we are talking about parenting supports. And the reason we chose this topic is because of one of our viewers, Ebony, who's usually on here with us every morning. So when you do get on, good morning, Queen. How you doing? I hope you have an amazing weekend. She was talking about just the different things that grandparents go through. And then Marasha was like, okay, well, I want to throw in the different things that parents go through as well. So we trying to hit this on every level.
And I always remember this, that parenting comes in different shapes and different forms. It's a trial and error thing. Nobody's perfect. There's no guideline to parenting, especially if you are an active parent, because active parenting is different than just being a parent. Because some people can be a mother, your father, but that don't make you active and hands-on, if you understand what I'm saying. So go ahead.
So some of the things that we're going to cover today, just like Marasha said, it's a way to do everything. So as a parent, as a grandparent, good morning, Bree. We're going to talk about following your gut, talking about being kind, because sometimes we could be a little judgmental or standoffish.
Go
ahead.
Expectations. Bonding, finding groups, and asking for help, seeking support.
Yes. And all of these things are important and go together. Because once again, if you're not following your gut and you're dependent on someone else, then that's not good. Because once again, you're the parent, or you're the grandparent and you've been the parent. Being kind, once again, is important because you don't want to be judgmental.
That's true.
What's Marasha, you got something to say about that?
So let's just kick this off. Let's talk about being kind. Okay, so as you know, if you are a parent and if you experience parenting, it's hard. It's a job. Some days, nobody's perfect. Parenting is not perfect. It's not like you have a baby and they give you a handbook and say, here, this is what you do and this is what you don't do. And if they did that anyways, there's a possibility it will not work. Because you know why? What I've realized from having two separate children at this point, no two kids are the same. So you might have to parent them differently.
Definitely.
What I found interesting within the Black community or some minority communities is, I think this is everybody. So I ain't going to even say that. This is a show for everybody with different perspectives, is that sometimes when we see other kids parenting or grandparents see kids parenting, they so quick to be judgmental.
Yeah.
And the approach that they have with their kids when they're raising their grandchildren, it creates a clash, and it teaches those kids that that's a normal way to function between a parent and child. So it's like a child to child relationship. What I mean by judgmental, I can give an example, is that say for instance, you might have a baby, and the way you bathe the baby is different from the way you bathe your mother would have bathed you, or what you feed the baby might have been different. Maybe you want your baby to eat all organic stuff, so you blend it in the kitchen, and so then you have to. Then your mom was like, "Well, hell, I went to the store, but you ain't Gerber. You ain't no better than nobody to be eating no Gerber baby food." You know, those little comments, they do have a part on emotions when parenting.
They do. They play a huge part in that, because if you're doing this, if you're the grandparent and you're doing this to your child, then obviously that child's self-esteem is not going to be there. And they're going to start to wonder, am I doing the right thing? Which is why the first thing was follow your gut.
Mm-hmm.
If you follow your gut and you know that you're not trying to hurt your child, that you know what you're doing, like Marasha said, because the times have changed. If you feel like you want to blend the food up and you know it's all natural and that's what you want to feed your baby that. You know, but what we also need to understand when we're talking about being kind is you have to treat people how you want to be treated. So just like that parent is trying to help you, first of all, of course, all parents, you're always going to be their baby. So when you have a baby, they are going to want to help you. That's the bottom line. They're going to want to help you. Some children will be okay with this. Some children won't be okay with this. And that's all right. And it's going to depend on the bond that you guys have. And that was one of the things we talked about as well. The bond that you have with your parent is going to make a huge impact on how receptive you are to their help.
To their help, and then to your own children.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes both ways, and that's how we talked about this topic before we brought it to you guys, because it's very interesting. When we talk about bonding, right? And that goes back to these multiple theories in attachment, right? The way you bond with your parent is the way you will attach to your own children or to different relationships.
Mm-hmm.
But you give an example of, sometimes I see this on so many different levels, where the relationship between a mother and daughter or father and son is not that good. And then they have a child. So now we got a grandchild involved. And of course, a lot of grandparents, they feel like, I want to make up what I didn't do for you and for your children. So they come in, they're kind of overbearing sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And if you didn't have a relationship with your daughter or your son, and you're doing that, and you're thinking you're going to go in and raise their children, that is not going to be healthy. That's not going to work.
Well, yeah, it's just not going to work. Because they're not going to allow you to do that. Number one, they're going to be combative and standoffish once again.
That's true.
Because you weren't there for them. We're not saying that this is right, but we're putting into perspective why certain things happen. Like Marasha said, it goes back to those attachment theories. So a lot of us are experiencing these things and we don't know why.
That's true.
You know, we're struggling with our parents being overbearing, or we are the overbearing parent because maybe we were not there. And so now you're once again trying to raise those grandchildren, or trying to re-raise your grown child.
Absolutely.
and it doesn't work like that, you know, but that's why everyone needs to set boundaries. And we need to learn what that looks like, because it's going to look differently for all of us. But boundaries is extremely important in relationships. And there are a lot of parents who will say, like, my kid can't tell me what to do. My kid can't tell me I can't come over there. My kid
can't tell me I can feed my grandbaby this, because I'm going to feed my grandbaby when I want to. Well, guess what? You the grandparent. You ain't the mama or the daddy.
Right. And what if, because that child can tell you, I don't want you to come over here no more, then you're going to be butthurt. And they can tell you, you know what? I'm gonna bring my baby over there. When you can't hold my baby, you can't do nothing. I don't want you. Ain't gonna be left alone with my baby. And then what? You over there looking stupid. But it doesn't have to go that way. You know, because we all need to understand, you know, what part we play
and that
in the child's life.
that.
Really, it's about the child.
It's about the child and the respect that you have for adult. Because I think I know something that I always see between parents and grandparents and stuff is that you still my child, so you have to respect me and I don't have to respect you. But guess what? Once a person has kids, and not even before then, once they hit adulthood, they hold it.
Yes, I was just gonna say
they hold it on. They are entitled to respect. It changes. So now you two should be able to have a working relationship. But not even that. When you even think of this, so this is a real interesting, an interesting thing with this topic because it's a whole bunch of levels we can cover. One level that I always find interesting too is the working parent with the grandparent who's not providing support, but then they go support. Sometimes they will support when that child is want to go out and party and do different things. So how it can be on two different accords, I guess. You might have a child that's working. Sometimes I see this and I have people actually bring that to my attention. It's like, hey, I'm just venting right now. I'm having an issue where I'm going to work and I don't have no support at home with helping me raise my kids. But yeah, I can get a babysitter to go out.
Well, that's because since I do work with the older population, and I think you work more with the, your age. I am older than you, but
whatever, you ain't got.
But I mean, I work with people my age and older, so I can see what you're talking about on a different level to where it's not about the child going. Well, it is about the child going out, but what it is that parent doesn't have that foundation in employment or career, and so their history is they go out. And their parents used to babysit for them when they went out. So when it comes to a job and working for someone else or, doing time for the system, labor for the system, they're not going to watch the children because they just feel some type of way about that. So there are several, like you said, there could be several layers to this. You just have to look at it from a 360-degree angle and see where you are within the picture. Because once you can figure that out, then you're able to see how you need to insert yourself or what needs to be worked on.
And I'm glad you brought that up because that completely makes sense. Because what I try to explain to a lot of people, like when I am working with them or anybody who we just have a conversation, because people don't know this, I have multiple conversations with a lot of people, grocery store, anywhere. Right. I'm friendly. The generation of grandparents are getting younger.
Definitely.
And so what I found is that their approach to parenting looks a lot different. It's not as hands-on as it was back in the day when you had grandma and grandpa in the house working. Right. More of a stable environment, stability within a home. It looked a lot different. So when you have grandparents getting younger and younger, they're still living, doing their own thing. It's going to be harder when you have a child that is a parent that's working and trying to have upward mobility. It's going to look different. And it doesn't make it wrong. It's just a choice that you have a preference, I've heard grandparents say, hey, okay, I'm working all the time babysitting your kids while you go to work on the other end. But don't call me when you want to go party. I'm not babysitting and helping at all when you need a break because them your damn kids. I'm trying to get somewhere too. So I hear different levels of it. And what I might add is that it's interesting. It's no right or wrong way. However, a lot of times my advice to that is that, okay, if you see your child trying to work, that's different than going out and partying. That's somebody who I would see as trying to get somewhere, trying to get something to benefit and help themselves and help their kids so they can be better, do better.
But once again, if that parent is not at a place where they're ready for change, which we're seeing this right now a lot because a lot of the youth or young adults, even people in their 20s, 30s, we're trying to stop generational, curses. We're trying to eliminate them. So with that being said, a lot of what you're talking about is going on where it's more working, but they still want to blow off steam. So they're trying to go out, but it's more so they're always at work. So the parents don't want to watch the children while they go out. And so what I've also seen is the children raising children. Absolutely. They have a lot of children. And so a lot of the older children are becoming parentified. And
And
that is hurting a lot of what's going on in the household, the dynamic. And so that in turn starts to become the babysitter, where the grandparent is no longer needed. So then the grandparent becomes the friend, or the grandparent turns into that individual, that has learned now and is trying to grow and is trying to tell that young parent, maybe you should be doing this because I didn't do it with you, but I see where I went wrong. But once again, that young parent is not receptive because they're like, shit, now you want to tell me something? Now you want to come over here and try to be a parent? I don't need you. I got this. You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
once again, that entire dynamic is why we're having this show, because we don't talk about these things. But also it's to highlight mental wellness within the community. It's to highlight that we do need, to go to therapy or to get coaching or to go to parenting classes, or these things are important, because if we, my favorite saying, if we don't know, we can't grow. If you don't go and you start learning,
we should always be growing. We should always be trying to reach progression. Because this is what I noticed too. A lot of people will say they want progression, but then you turn around and then you do the same thing over and over. Yeah. So life is about living and growing. And if you don't know, you can't grow. So it's always good to ask. So that's why the dynamic of this topic is very interesting. And what you said, like the parenting, the parentified child, sometimes that comes off as a child being defiant, disrespectful, and things like that. And then you sit down and you talk to that child, and what you find is that, okay, I'm at home raising kids while my parents doing A, B, C, and D. And then sometimes it can be, they do have a grandparent who's trying to talk to the parent and say, hey, you know what, you should try this. Then there are times, though, too, that you don't have that grandparent. You have the grandparent who telling their daughter, meet me down the street at the club. We about to go get some drinks. Right. So it's kind of like a double-edged, what you call it, sword here with this topic, because it's interesting. And that's why I know I hate that I had to go somewhere early today, because I really wanted it to be more of an engagement when talking about this, and you guys sharing your experiences, because I bet you all have some to do with this.
Definitely. I mean, we know that you guys do. You can always put them in the comments. We'll make sure that we're looking on there, as we always are, and we will respond and try to make sure that we're engaging with you guys later today, since we are on a little earlier. But definitely, like Marasha said, this child will go to school or even in the home, and we'll start to say that this child is defiant. We'll start to say that this child needs help. And I think that also goes for individuals working in the schools. Be more aware, be more empathetic to what's going on. Because once again, if you don't know, you can't grow. If you don't know, then you're not going to interact with those children correctly, which is going to traumatize them even more. And that's going to be a huge contributor to more mental health issues.
Right.
I don't know if you guys are aware that, once again, once they leave the household that they're stressed in, and they come to school where they can be a child, where they can engage, and be accepted, where they can get a meal if they're not eating at home, where they can, try to gain friendships, where they're building healthy relationships if they know how. It starts with you guys. And that's why Marasha is always, pushing that, and why she inserts herself the way she does, because she is amazing at that. Because it's important, because it's going to start there if it can't start at home.
That's you're absolutely correct. And even with that, when we talk about parenting supports here, I think, grandparents, I think we speak of a whole family dynamic. What I mean by that family dynamic is that sometimes you have aunts that step in, great aunts that step in, things like that. So if you're feeling that you're not getting the support you need with parenting, it's okay to go ask and say, hey, what do you think I can be able to support here? And if you don't like it, you don't have to take the advice, but always be willing to ask, because sometimes older generations too, my grandmother is one, they've seen stuff we haven't seen in kids, and you can call and you can ask and say, hey, what happened with that? What does this look like? Why is this happening? I think this utilizing all your supports is important.
Definitely. And if you don't have, because I always speak from the other side, I know Marasha has a very good support system with her aunts and her grandmother and her mother. I was not raised that way. I did not have that. I do have people I can call on, but it's all about building a healthy support system as well. Once again, sometimes we don't even know what that looks like. I think I have went through several different, I don't want to call them friendships, but I've been through several different relationships with people. And until I knew what a healthy support system looked like, it seemed as if I was not loyal or I was flaky, and that wasn't the case. It was just that I was searching for individuals that I knew, once again, would be healthy. I did not need the same support I had received because I knew that that was unhealthy, if that makes sense. I'm not saying that anything was wrong with those people, but I'm saying
it makes sense to this. This is what I heard, and you correct me if I'm wrong, because this is what I heard. What I heard is that, and I'm gonna speak to not exactly to you, but what I heard was that sometimes you can have a grandmother, you can have different parents, and they're toxic and they're not healthy for your children. And then sometimes when we're looking for support, we rely on people who got some not so good traits to watch our kids, thinking that those are not going to roll over onto our kids. If auntie is manipulative, lying, stealing, conniving, you can't leave your kid there, man.
That's true.
And that's another concept that I really wanted to talk about. I'm so mad I had to get off and do what I need to do because I really want the engagement. A lot of times we do that sometimes. I see it happen daily. And I'm not speaking, I'm speaking within the community. People tell me things, because I got friends. I talk to people, I have associates. You living with a person and they got all these traits, right? They sitting up talking about you when you walk out the door in front of your kid. They sitting up talking about everybody. If you leave your child in that environment or where they putting their emotional stuff on your kid, what you think is gonna happen to the kid?
Right. And what I definitely want to make sure that I highlight today is that where there's a will, there's a way.
Absolutely.
Once again, because I didn't have a lot of support, that's why I can say that, because I had to get it out the mud. That saying, and I did have to get it. I had to figure out, okay, let me see what program is going to help me so they'll pay for my kids' daycare so I'll be able to go to work. And if I got to ride the bus over here with a stroller and this to go, and today y'all got Uber and different things, but we didn't have that back in those days. It was taxis and the bus, but I made a way out of no way. And I think a lot of people use that as excuse today as well. Well, I didn't have anyone, or, I just had to go to work. But what it is it was easy. And we become comfortable with instant gratification because we're a people that love instant gratification.
Well, we like things that are easy. I mean,
which is instant gratification. Yeah,
it is. It's convenient.
Exactly.
It's a conveniency. I ain't gotta go 5 places before I get.
But that's not a good thing. And that's when we get too comfortable with something, that's when we need to shake the table, because we need to be uncomfortable for change to happen.
Absolutely.
And change can't happen if you're sitting there doing the same thing. So once again, with that being said, you have to be willing to move in different circles. You have to be willing to learn different things. And that means asking questions. That means building a healthier support system so your children can be nurtured in those ways, because we've gotten away from the saying of it takes a village, because it really does take a village.
It does.
It really, really does. But nowadays you could pick your village. You don't have to be restricted to the village you were born in, is what we're saying.
Mm-hmm. You can use additional supports. There's nothing wrong with using additional supports to have better results for you and your child.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I always tell people always say, well, it's comfortable. comfortable ain't always a good thing.
Right.
So cause sometimes comfortable comes with this, with your child going to school and mimicking behaviors that can possibly not be so healthy. When I'm talking about getting kicked out of school, I'm talking about thinking they can pop off on people for no apparent reason. Thinking they can run back and tell people things and have that gossipy trait. That's not okay.
Yeah. But once again, some kids will grow out of that.
That is true. I'm not saying
some won't, but it starts at home.
It does.
And you also, I know I talked about the school and resources, but the school is not there to raise your child either. So I definitely wasn't saying that, but it does take a village. So if everyone's working together, then hopefully your child will grow up and have everything that they need, the tools that they need. Now, on the other hand, I know we talked a lot. We kind of went in on the parents. We wasn't trying to go in on y'all, but we was giving y'all just a little insight. Because there definitely can be a disconnect within those relationships. So we want to make sure we highlight that. But I want to talk about grandparents as well.
Go in and girl, talk about it.
Because grandparents, sometimes you didn't already raise your child, okay? For the ones who have. And there are some who have not. But if you have, let your child make their own mistakes.
That is so true.
That's not your child. And the reason there's so much animosity and pushback is because you got so much to say. You're so opinionated. So I think in the beginning we talked about
the grandparents been too opinionated, been too involved, trying to make their child be a perfectionist. What you said is they're living through their child, so they want their child to be somebody who they weren't even. They weren't.
Well, even if because some of these parents think that they were that great parent, is what I'm saying.
So expectation.
It's the same as you as well as what you're saying, but I'm saying those parents who think that they were the model parent. And so now they trying to, any little thing they telling the kid like, no, you can't do that. No, don't do it that way. Oh, you don't put the kid's jacket on that way. You put in the left arm first and then the right. You can't just hold it up and let them slide their hands in. That ain't it. I mean, you know what I mean? So for me, I think that's why adjust your expectations is extremely important because what you would do and your expectations of something, it doesn't have to go that way.
It's not the same for somebody else.
Yes.
Somebody else might say, I want to put my right arm in first, in the coat first, or I might want to put my neck through my shirt first instead of my arms. I might want to take my shirt off by pulling it over my head first and pulling it over my arms second. So you might have the expectation for you. Sometimes I notice that some people see themselves in a reflection as to how they see them. So if I view myself this way, I see you in that same light, in that same reflection.
Right.
And sometimes we can't walk through life doing that because especially when you're a grandparent, you have kids, you end up trying to overpower them and bully them into doing something that they don't want to do for their kid. You have to not do that.
Yes. So we want you guys to try to stay calm. We're going to try to give y'all a couple of little pointers. We're not saying you have to do this or that. It will always work, and if you don't know how to do these things, seek some type of help or assistance because somebody will be able to help you get to that point. But if you can, we want you to stay calm because if you don't know better, you can't do better. And so if you're not going to therapy, if you're not going to parenting groups, if you're not seeking out additional resources, you're not going to know the things that we just brought up. So just stay calm, be patient with yourself and with the other individual, because you have to be able to grow together. You have to be able to compromise because once again, this is a parent. So what they say really goes with this child. You're a grandparent. So yeah, you have a little bit of input, but your comment, your opinion is not the end all be all. So just stay calm and be patient with yourself and with your child. Set boundaries. Marasha, you want to talk about setting boundaries?
Setting boundaries is actually putting up limits and talking to them about those boundaries. Meaning, a good one is sitting down, having a conversation of what you will tolerate and what you won't tolerate around your kids.
Yeah,
that's number one. Number two, if you feel like you're getting nowhere, then you sometimes you have to not just say it, you have to actually show the action behind it.
Yes.
So it's hard when you tell a person what you want, what you desire, and how you feel or how it makes you feel. But that's part of setting boundaries. So, and then also be open-minded and receptive to what they're going to say. Because when you always remember, when you put something down in the universe, that is that other person's time to put something back.
Exactly.
So, and that's where the compromise comes in. You have to be willing to listen to hear what they say. Okay, well, maybe that works for you, but that's not working for me and how I choose to do things.
Right.
And that's okay.
Yes. You have to agree to disagree. Yeah. And I think that that's something that a lot of people struggle with, and it's definitely hard. So it's not going to just come to you at the drop of a dime, but that is something that I think we all should just work on, because we're all different. Nobody has the same opinions on things. There's always going to be a different way to approach any situation. So you want to make sure that you keep an open mind, or you at least work on figuring out how to do that, or what that looks like for you. Because keeping an open mind actually can look differently for me. It can look differently for Marasha. But once again, it's about what works for you.
And also remember this too. So many times we get stuck in this pattern that it has to be my way, things has to be done. But just because a person does it a different way doesn't make it wrong if we got the same results.
Right. And it doesn't mean that they're against you.
Absolutely.
Because they don't agree with you. So definitely keeping that open mind. And I want to go back to setting boundaries. I know Marasha touched on that. And I wanted to highlight about setting those boundaries for even yourself.
Absolutely.
I know, she talked about setting boundaries for the relationship with the child and the relationship with the parent interactions, but setting that boundary for yourself. How far will you go? What will you do? And how is that going to benefit you or hurt the relationship? Because if you're trying to build a positive relationship with your parent or mend that gap, you definitely want your child to be able to see that, but also you need to allow them to see it when it's time. So knowing what's healthy for your child to see, knowing what's healthy for your parent to see and engage.
What's healthy.
Exactly. Because everybody, I know we talk about, and I use a lot of sayings for a lot of different things because they can be used on a lot of different levels, but everybody's not meant to go with you, that saying. Everybody's not meant to see everything.
That's true.
So certain conversations that you have with your child, your parent doesn't have to be there. And certain conversations that you have with the parent, the child doesn't have to be there. And certain conversations that parent has with your child, you don't have to be there.
That's true.
Because that's building certain relationships. But making sure that you all have a clear understanding of what is expected out of those relationships is important. So once again, going to parenting groups, going to grandparent groups, going to, mental wellness groups, all of these different processes
and help us
programs will help you grow. Definitely.
They help us grow. And I love that Linnell brought that fact up. That was a very good point when she said that different relationships, because kids need different healthy relationships in order to be very successful. Some kids might not respond to a mother or father, but they'll go respond to grandma or grandpa. So having expectations, but being able to accept the fact that your child will have different relationships is okay. A lot of people are not okay with that, but it's okay because it's very healthy.
Yes. And I'm glad you said that. That made me think of, because, that made me think of those parents as like, oh, that's my first best friend. You really have to. I mean, it's cool to have.
It's cool.
It's very good to have a good relationship with your child. We're not.
And I agree with that. But sometimes there's a fine line between parenting and being friends.
Yes.
Sometimes that line gets blurred. And that's another thing with boundaries and expectations.
Yes.
The boundaries become blurred.
Mm-hmm.
So
and you have to learn how to separate them. You really, really have to learn how to separate them and implement them in a way that will be beneficial for everybody. Because if you don't know that, once again, then yeah, it's not just going to come easy. So I think we're going to start wrapping it up because I know Marasha has some things that she has to do this morning. So we want to make sure we get her out and ready. So I really appreciate the people who joined us today, this morning. I know it was early. I know we didn't give you guys enough notice. So we really, really apologize.
We apologize about that. And I'm so sorry because I actually called Lynell last night. I was like, hey, Lynell, I forgot I had this thing coming up. So,
but I apologize for not putting it on last night and letting you guys know. Yes, but we will get better. We definitely will get better.
We're growing, and we just want to be interactive and as fun as possible. Our show is not about being perfect, Patty, or having a perfect show every time. It's about growing and learning together, being receptive to you guys too.
Yes.
So,
and there will be some changes, I think, coming soon. So, just look out for a couple of announcements from us. We will see how we're going to move forward, but we got a couple of changes that we will be making. So just continue to keep us in your prayers. Follow, like, and share. We will definitely make sure that we get a little better at updating you because with those changes, I'm not sure how everything is going to go. Absolutely. So we want to make sure that we keep you guys informed. So just once again, continue to follow, like, and share for the time being. Continue to pray for us. This week, we want to make sure we continue to give our shout outs. I don't have any shout outs though. Do you have any shout outs?
I do. Okay. I like cookies, right? So her name is Clue Kai Fit on Instagram. I gotta be better about liking and sharing too, but I just kind of been busy with a lot of things. And so with Clue Kai Fit share, her real name is Renee. That girl can make a cookie too.
What is it?
It's Clue Kai Fit on Facebook. I'm going to put it on the Instagram link, the cookie lady, because she makes cookie boxes too. They're really good. Do I have any other shout outs? No, I don't have any other shout outs today. I just want to shout out to everybody because I'm still watching y'all and I still see y'all doing y'all thing, like y'all going on trips and vacation. That is mental health. That is best. You taking care of your needs. I love it. I'm watching you guys. Shout out to everybody out there running a business because you're doing it in a rough time. Yeah. So you putting your best effort for it. I just want to say I'm watching you guys. You guys are doing an awesome and amazing job.
Yes. And if you guys need anything from us, any resources, if you have any questions for us, hit us up in our inbox. We say that every single week. Excuse me. Hit us up in our inbox. If, once again, there's anything that you guys need, we don't have a problem sharing. So just ask. Absolutely. Don't be afraid. We will get back to you as soon as we see the message. We hope everyone's doing well. Continue to represent for National Pride Month. You know, I know it's the last weekend, so y'all turn up this weekend, but be safe. Do everything on a healthy basis. If you're in LA and you're trying to do something for Pride, looking for events, go to www.lapride.org. That way you can find all the information. And we just want you guys to come back and join us July 3rd at 10 a.m. Are we doing a show July 3rd? I think we are, but if we
don't come out here, it's because we somewhere together having fun.
Right, yeah. So maybe we might come on early or something. Maybe we'll do it Friday if we don't, or we'll pre-record it. We
don't know, but I want to be interactive, so I like us better live. So
yes, me too. Yeah, so we'll
figure it out. But July 3rd, now we made a deal. We're trying to get somewhere. So
yeah, or it may just be a quick little 20-30 minute check-in or something. It won't be an hour. But so yeah. So definitely, once again, I know I keep repeating myself, but follow, like, share. Continue to keep us in your prayers. I want you guys to have an amazing weekend. And we just thank you. We appreciate you and we love you guys.
And thank you for watching. And always remember, please leave us some comments, and then we will follow up with the next show with the comments, so that way we can actually have a conversation. So,
so maybe we could do a feedback on
July 3rd. On July 3rd. We want you to bring up some stuff for us to talk about pertaining to this topic, because you are the ones who wanted to talk about it in the first place.
Right.
So bring it up, and then we'll talk about it, and then we'll be interactive. It'll be fun.
Yes.
So thank you guys again.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.